I wanted to introduce a new series called Conscious Coupling, Honest Conversations, and this being a part of Authentic Alpha brand, which is all about starting with yourself and developing a better relationship with yourself, and then how that ripples out into obviously the closest person just outside of you. And so in this case, it's my partner Tamara. And I wanted to, the intention is to just tell our stories about our unorthodox relationship, the challenges that we faced, and hopefully it can help those of you that are watching in some way from the male perspective and also the female perspective. So here we are. Let me introduce the lovely Tamara.
Hello.
And this is, coming up, we're coming up on our 16th year anniversary on Wednesday. Today's Monday.
Of our wedding.
Wedding anniversary.
20 years.
We've been together for 20 years.
Yeah.
So let me just pass it off to Tamara, and Tamara can say just a little bit about herself, maybe how we met, from like her part of the story on how we met, when we met, what was like 20 years ago, like how we began, and from her perspective. And then we'll go back and forth. Once again, like an honest conversation. There's going to be certain boundaries that we have in our conversation. Like we don't want to overshare, but we want to share. So.
Well, so first of all, there's the age difference. So when I met Ryan, I was still married, 3 kids.
What's the age difference?
15 years.
16?
Is it? It's kind of 15 and a half.
15 and a half.
I keep it at 15.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and Ryan was working as a nanny for my best friend in Switzerland, where I lived. And we met, or I should say we collided, because it felt more like a collision of 2 people who on paper weren't going to work. He's American. He was there on a visa. Like I say, working as a nanny, wanted to come and learn a language, discover a different culture, and I was thick into motherhood, but obviously not happily married. And our worlds collided, and he became like a support system for me. For a while, even before there was anything, we were just very good friends. We talked about everything. Everything felt very natural. Then we tried to sort of pull each other apart or focus on our real life and our world, but whatever, the universe had other plans. And it was very difficult for us to be apart. And so life started to unravel, I have to say. It started to unravel. It began in a very kind of catastrophic way, like the Big Bang. And I soon found myself separated with 3 young kids. And Ryan and I began a journey that we just really had no idea where it was going, or it was so unintentional.
It was intentional, but there was a lot of unknown, and we were facing a lot of external stress and pressure that was.
Sorry, it just wasn't intentional on the basis that I wasn't out there looking for a partner. You weren't out looking for someone. I was like not in that space where maybe if I had been a single mom with kids that I was looking for a new partner, and it wasn't like that. That's what I mean. There was no intention. It was just like energy that kept pulling us together, and we fought it, or we did fight it. But
and our mindset originally was like us against the world. Like that's how we were feeling when, we felt so strongly about each other, when there was a lot of elements that were trying to pull us apart, and that could have at so many different places along the road, but especially at the beginning. Like there was so much against us at the beginning, and that was like, how everyone was perceiving it around us. Like, oh yeah, like it's just a phase, or you know, all the taboo or the stereotypes around like age differences and things like that. Tamara,
Especially the age
that was
difference.
a big one because
And I got the brunt of it. Being the older woman, it was like I think I probably lost
friends.
friends, majority of people who you think are your friends, but when, push comes to shove, you realize who's really there for you. And I think what a lot of people didn't realize, because when my marriage actually broke down, we'd been together for 20 years. It wasn't like nothing. It was I'd been with my ex-husband since I was like 19. So it was kind of solid, but what I'm saying, it wasn't like I didn't see it as a failed marriage because it had lasted quite a long time. But that aside, it was heartbreaking for me, for everyone around me, for the kids, for my ex-husband, for my family, extended family. So like I say, it was an explosion. It was catastrophic. And yet something still,
We laugh now, but yeah,
we
it's
laugh now, but
challenging.
it took me many, 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 many years to overcome the whole destruction that I had created, really, and felt guilty for, and tried to keep everything together. I did all my best, but I pulled myself this way and that way, and it put a strain on us. And then Ryan went back to America, was gone for maybe 9 months working there, so I had to do a long distance thing with him, which ended up in me saying,
Yeah, but that,
I can't do
yeah, and
it.
that was its own challenge. Like just being apart at that time, and like that feeling of the separation as well, wanting to be together, but trying to, I don't know. I guess we were trying to figure out. Well, we had broken up at that stage. Tamara had called me and like ended it at a certain point.
I think I was just overwhelmed. I mean, I was dealing with the breakup of my marriage and trying to have a relationship with someone new and be in love with them while my heart was broken and I was a mess, really trying to help my kids and try and lead a normal life. But I was overwhelmed, I think, and the insecurity as well as being an older woman with a younger man. And we've spoken about this, is
She just turned 40. I was 24.
yeah. And then it's the insecurity. You think, well, he's younger, he's going to meet someone younger, and then this is all going to be like a mess, and I'm going to be more heartbroken. And so I think I wanted to end it at some point because I would just couldn't cope with any more like pain. And
It was
so
hard being
yeah,
apart at that time.
the beginning of our relationship was,
That's why it's not traditional, right? Like boy meets girl, go out on dates, learn about each other, like meet parents and all this kind of stuff. We bypassed all of that, and we kind of went super deep fast just because of the situation, really.
we went deep into healing mode.
Well,
'Cause
hurting and healing, like we were going into it, because we both made sacrifices on either end. Like I really sacrificed a life in the United States, being closer to my family, friends, everything like that. So that was a lot of the friction that I was encountering.
and you weren't my priority.
Yeah, kids were number one,
Yeah, the kids were always my priority.
and I knew that going into
And
it.
from the beginning, it was always like, Ryan, you're my second. First my kids, then you. So that it wasn't like a conventional relationship where you start out and you're each
And it's
other's
just
priority.
you two, yeah.
It wasn't. I couldn't do that. It's the kind of mom I am. I just wouldn't put him first. And
But I didn't ask that for her as well, and that's also, I was coming into that relationship knowing all of that, like the damage control of, and that was the responsibility of like what we chose as well, while trying to manage, I guess, broken relationships that I had created with my family in the U.S. and my choice to be in Europe. And at the beginning, like I was there illegally. She said I had a visa even when I was a man, but I did not. And so that was another, like, there was a lot of fear. We were living in a lot of fear of like us getting, like me getting found out that I was, living there, and lots of different things.
which is why jump forward maybe a few years
It's John.
to getting married. because
getting
I
married.
was freshly divorced. The last thing I wanted was to get married. I really didn't, and I still don't really feel the need to be married. I don't really believe in this
We did it logistically at the
contractual
beginning. Yeah.
situation, but it was the only way after having tried many different like pathways. It was the only way that we could, or Ryan could, stay in Europe and, or especially in Switzerland. So we got married, and then began another journey of, being married, and there were struggles there. So, it's multi-layered, and over 20 years I think we've had maybe 10 different relationships within the one relationship, and we have been through the fire multiple times. We have had many changes, but Ryan was always kind of in my life because of the children. Like, I had to carry on with the kids. They were at school, they were growing. I had to continue with my life, and Ryan had to find a way to fit into that. It was never the other way around. It was always him having to fit. And I don't think many guys his age would do that, personally, to sacrifice so much of their own, maybe
I was out of my
desires and
comfort zone a
lives.
lot, like
And
big time. Foreign language, foreign country, trying to navigate so much.
my family, which is big, and parents, brothers.
Yeah, and also like facing up to once again this external pressure, or maybe
Guilt.
external, yeah, guilt, disapproval, maybe of our relationship, or people secretly wanting it to, I don't know, like all of this kind of stuff that was underlying,
I think
especially
people
the
wanted
beginning
us to
years.
fail. People wanted it to fail, and that made us stronger, because we were like, I'm not gonna. This isn't for nothing. This is real. We really love each other, and this is for real. And but it just felt like, why should we have to convince people? Like, if you don't want to be in my life anymore, our life, then leave. And a lot of people did, because of their own fears of, the potential, of their own relationships breaking down, maybe, and their, just, yeah, man, it was multifaceted. Let's just
And
say.
that's why we're starting this really. Like there's a lot for us to share on all these different levels, and we wanted to, just get it going, get the momentum flowing. And like she said, all these different iterations of our relationship, and like how we label it, how we call each other. Like this way, I say partner. Like my wife sounds funny because we don't really say that. Like life partner is more what we've evolved into, and a lot of this has been like through each iteration, through each change in our relationship, we've had to go through our own personal growth. Like if one of us wasn't growing along the way, we wouldn't still be together. Like this is in essence why we're still here together, and we've always chosen the relationship, but personal growth has been a big part of it. Like what is the relationship mirroring back in our individual selves that is forcing us to grow, or say goodbye to the relationship, really.
Yeah, and we've been there. We've
We've
been
been at
there. We've
that.
been we've been at that point many times, actually. We've been on the verge of separation, kind of living separate lives. We have been had the conversation of divorce where we couldn't go on. We've been there. We've been in so many situations where we were just like, I'm out of here. I'm slamming the door, packing my bags. It's Let's just say our relationship is very passionate. We're both very fiery, and
But when it comes to that, like I think at those times the fire has come just from like the friction, like something needed to change. So the fire came out to be able to force that change in some way. But we've always come back up to this point. We've always come back together and evolved, or it wouldn't have come back together.
we've always found a solution to the problem. And I think we have, being unconventional, we have found alternative ways of resolving a situation so that things feel better, and then trying that, and sometimes it didn't work. Um, and then moving on to something else. Or, we've both been on a healing journey, and we both do the personal growth. Like, I've been on multiple, I guess, retreats. I've been to countries to do plant medicine to heal myself. I've tried many things. I've been part of I guess a lot of different communities where personal growth is the number one, purpose. And then you've done the same. So I think if I was only doing that and he wasn't, I think at some point we would have just like lost each other.
And supporting each other doing this kind of stuff as well, right? Because the person comes back changed, and you have to get to know each other in a whole new way. Like, and that's part of it. And that's why a lot of people don't do it. It's like change is bad, especially in the relationship. Like, but it was important for us to navigate all that, or like it would have imploded. It did implode in a way, but like.
But I think at the beginning, what brought us together was fitness. Like I'm big into fitness. I'm like a
We
fitness
ran a lot
junkie.
together at the beginning.
And I was the runner. I was always running. I mean, that
Was
was
it
my therapy
long
back
distance?
then to deal with life. And so that's how we began. Like I said, oh, come running with me, let's just run together. So he started running together, and I would just like chat. He wouldn't say anything.
Because I couldn't breathe.
And I was just
Going
like
on longer runs than I've ever
venting.
gone on
I was
before.
just venting because I thought, oh my God, I found someone who can actually listen to
Such
me,
a good listener.
understand me, but also like just not judge me or think I'm crazy or just held space. Basically, that's the word for it. I didn't know that word back then, but I think Ryan just held space for me in a time of life where I was really overwhelmed and just not coping very well. But then from there, we've just always, the fitness journey for us has been our life. We opened a gym, and then we became personal trainers. Well, that first, and then we opened a gym. We did that for 8 years, and it's continued. I mean, primarily we are fitness coaches that have evolved into different areas
More holistic.
of coaching now. So that's part of our life, and our common ground is the fact that we're both very physical people, and was important to me, like to be with someone who is physical as me, because I'm hyperactive. So even though,
But it's like it's a love of movement, going out for long
Yeah.
walks, running together,
but that's
then
health.
doing like, sharing what we love about movement and physical, and also the physical part of the relationship has been important,
But
right?
it's also been part of the healing, like the whole healing, emotional healing. It's what we've, the path that we've been on, and everything we've learned through being personal trainers, that led us actually to learn more about the mindset and about spiritual effect on people. I think that was, that it kind of one thing led to another. And nutrition for me has always been really important, because I have a background of eating disorders, and my healing began when I started really learning about nutrition and natural remedies, natural alternative medicines, and exercise, and how that's healing for the body. So my journey started when I was like 14 in that realm, and it continued with Ryan. Like, he's an athlete. His background is an athlete, so he was also always involved in that physical training.
But from the nutrition standpoint, coming from the U.S. and my habits, like I learned a lot from Tamara on that level. Like, we helped balance each other out from this nutritional, like her background of, the anorexia and everything like that. And then I was like an overeater. I ate too much. And then we helped balance each other out on these levels. I think that, and that's
Well, also because I was like, before I met you, I was a cardio queen. It was running, cardio machines, everything had to be cardio, because it was just the pump and the adrenaline and the endorphins that kept
also
me
help you
going.
clear your mind and work out things.
So when I met Ryan, it was an exchange of, oh, you should do strength training. And I had never done strength training really, like properly, or any kind of mobility stuff. I couldn't do a push-up. My endurance was like out of charts. Like, I had endurance that could go on forever, but strength-wise, I didn't have anything other than 3 kids, picking them up. I was strong, but I was strong as a mother, and not really in the other physical sense. But you taught me that, and then I taught him how to eat, and endurance
And endurance
in the running.
But this
So
is
we
part of this conscious coupling. Like we brought things together and shared them, so it helped further our growth individually and then as a couple. And really, like, it started with the physical. Like, this is the evolution. It started with the physical, then the whole mindset. We both went into that, and then spiritual journeys different, but it's still everything that we did individually. We would bring back together as a couple, and it would make us stronger as a couple, like more evolved as a couple.
and also we were together 24/7, and we have
A
been
lot.
together pretty much 24/7 for all our time together, except for maybe a few weeks here, a few weeks there, because I've traveled or he's traveled. And recently, it was the longest period where I was on my own for 2 months. But other than that, I mean, it's
More recently,
unusual.
24/7. When we had the gym, it wasn't,
Yeah, because
and that
I
was
was
part
with
of
you
it.
at the gym. So, okay. I mean, pretty much 24/7.
We were
Like
we were
a
together. We spent a lot
conventional
of time together.
conventional couples
Yeah,
that don't work
like a
together
9 to 5, and
see each other maybe on the weekends or in the evening or something.
we
That
spent
was
a lot
my
of time together.
previous life and
Yeah,
marriage was that, it was like more I see you on the weekends, because he had a very demanding job that meant he was gone most of the day. So, that's more conventional. So I'm saying that the fact that we've been through all these challenges, plus we're together a lot, which can be conflicting and a bit
it
difficult,
expedited our
but
our 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 growth within the
it's forced
relationship.
us to face the issues and
Yeah,
not avoid them, because if you're hanging around with someone all day long and you just can't stand them, then that's a problem.
but the big thing that we learned along the way, like, this is where it's conscious coupling and then honest conversations. We had to be honest as it was coming through us and be able to communicate. Like, my emotional intelligence improved from our relationship to be able to express how I was feeling or what I was going through, or like trying to come up with language to be able to express my truths, and not feeling I had to hold stuff back, which I did, and I lied about different things, and vice versa. Like,
And
but
you
we
were
had to
very
go through that.
defensive,
Yeah, I took things
very
personally
defensive.
because I was a people pleaser as well.
Yeah, there's a lot
These are
with
these deeper layers,
there's a
but
lot of very deep stuff.
honest communication is at the heart of, like, our conscious coupling.
But the reason we wanted to have these conversations is that we are about to celebrate 20 years of being together, and we're reflecting on our life and where we are now and how far we've come and what we've overcome, and the difficulties, the challenges, the age difference, the culture difference, the living in foreign countries. And we wanted to share this because maybe it helps other people out there who are maybe in the similar situation and having doubts or struggles. And it might help people see that, having an unconventional relationship isn't such a bad thing. Some people might shy away from that because of their upbringing or their beliefs, but
Or even just a relationship right now. Post COVID, relationships changed in big ways because people were forced to face themselves. And then, relationships just changed in big ways. So whether it's an unconventional or just stepping into a new level of an existing relationship, or being open for new relationships, I think.
yeah, I think just relationships in general, like we learn so much about ourselves in relationship with other people. Like we can face ourselves, like it's in solitude. We can see the fears, we can face ourselves and go deep to what is in us. But I think we learn the most about ourselves through being triggered by
Yeah,
other
like,
people.
and how open you feel, like how free you feel within that relationship to be yourself, as maybe you're growing and evolving, as you're learning about that. Like, and we've had a lot of that within our relationship. Like, oh, I've never seen this side of you. Or you haven't, is that really you? Like, these different levels of, like, you exploring yourself within the relationship, and then what's being mirrored back, and like how much you might be holding yourself back. Like, what's your how you're expressing your truth of who you are and who you're becoming.
And also, I think learning about the feminine masculine balance energy wise, but also as, a woman and a man, and the importance of understanding what a woman needs and me understanding what a man needs, and really going deep into that, and accepting each other's needs and not judging them and saying, well, that's stupid, or I think having that safe space, especially for me, I need to be in a safe space with a male. And so I think with Ryan, I can be in that safe space to tell him anything, because our relationship began that way, with me just talking about all my crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. And he took it. And I think that was the starting block. And it's kind of carried on that way. I think sometimes I talk more than he does in terms of how I'm feeling and my emotions and what's going on and what I'm afraid of and what I express that more freely. I think because it began that way and I felt safe to do that. And there are other areas, and maybe I haven't felt safe in our relationship, but we've got to a point now where I
But it's to
express
communicate,
that.
yeah. Exactly.
I can communicate that right now, and he won't be defensive with it. Whereas in the past, you would have been defensive. Well, like a wall would go up, and then
And once again, the defense was like, "Oh, I've disappointed her. I haven't measured up in some way." So, like, it was always reflective on myself. Like, how do I need to adapt based on what she's saying, as opposed to just reacting? Like getting it wrong. So think we can close this, but like this is a good start of us sharing conscious coupling, honest conversations, and see where this takes us and see what resonates with those that are watching. And please share any of your comments or feedback or anything that you might be going through that you'd like us to speak about, and what maybe we've experienced within it, and it can help shape future conversations. And
yeah. Well, we have a lot of different things to talk about. It's like, different times of our life together that we've experienced, like going through grief, my dad passing away, our beloved dogs passing away very soon after, and just before.
bankruptcy of a
Then my
business.
mum falling into dementia and Alzheimer's, and us spending 3 years almost taking care of her. That's only recently come to an end, and now we're living off grid. So we
Quite an
walked
adventure.
through the fire, and it's been adventurous, but also extremely challenging. And that's why sometimes we say, how are we still together? Like, how are we still together? And maybe through these conversations, we can find the answer to that.
We have the answer. It's just good reminders. It'll help us. I think this is a process of helping us feel grateful for everything that we've gone through, and then us still being together to be able to say, hey, we're still here, we're sharing it, and you know
We
go
just
from
share.
there.
We're
Take it one day at
sharing,
a time.
and people can either listen or not. It doesn't really matter. But hopefully the conversations will be of help in some ways, like inspiring. I suppose that's the word. Like maybe inspire people to take risks, like we have multiple times, to take risks and not be afraid and not have doubts. If you're a woman of my age or whatever, and there's a younger man, don't, the doubts, the fears, the what ifs, all these things that come up for the woman, sometimes in the man's mind is like not there. So I think sometimes these conversations can help women, equally men, move along a path that might seem just impossible. And
Scary.
we have done maybe the impossible, in the eyes of many people. So I guess.
Happy anniversary. Thanks for watching. Once again, if you feel called to share anything, share this video with anyone you think will benefit. Like we're grateful for everyone who watches this, who comes to this space, and whenever you come to it. Like thank you, and we'll see you next conversation.